in my native tongue too, if you permit me. I also want to greet everybody here. Danny, is that okay with you? Okay. Mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá àti màmá wa, ẹ̀yin ẹbí, ará àti ọ̀rẹ́, ẹ kú ìdìde. Mo dúpẹ́ pé ẹ fi àyè sílẹ̀ láti wá síbí. Ọlọ́run á bùkún fún yín. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Again, for the benefit of those who don't know how to speak Yoruba, I just express thanks to all of you, my family, friends, for being here and taking the time to honor us with your presence.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, go, oh, oh. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, go, oh, oh. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, oh, oh, oh. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go. The sunshine. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, the sunshine. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go. Take a road and a road to the open air. Anytime and a place, and I'll meet you there. Blow back those clouds, and you and I will bring the sunshine.
Yoruba is one of the major languages spoken in Nigeria, and in fact it's actually spoken in Togo, in Benin Republic, and even in Brazil, albeit through their spiritual practices there. It is lamentable that many adults are losing their ability to speak the language fluently, and those that can actually speak it either don't know how to teach their children or grandchildren, or choose not to speak it to their children. Why is this the case? Nigeria was colonized by the British and only gained its independence in 1960. The consequence of the colonial rule was that we, unfortunately, were taught to devalue our own languages, our rich cultures, our way of life. We were told that in order to be classified as educated and sophisticated, you had to learn to speak the perfect English. Those who grew up in Nigeria, I believe some people grew up in Nigeria here. Can I see your hands up if you did grow up in there? So quite a few, and myself included. Those who grew up in Nigeria will attest to the fact that teachers often discipline students who spoke what is referred to as vernacular. Is that true, please? Very true. And I get the elders and I say that respectfully, in the audience are nodding, and it's really interesting because even though I'm, one or two generations from them, I still experience the same thing. The best students would be handpicked by the teacher and given the honor to not only write down the names of noisemakers, but also to write down the names of their peers who were speaking any language other than English in school. I hope you're thinking, wow. Yes, wow. Can you imagine what that kind of conditioning does to a young child? He or she would internalize the negative message that it is somehow wrong to speak his or her own language, and that this supposed offense is punishable. And what happens is that if that notion does not get challenged, that same erroneous thought process then gets passed on from one generation to the next, and that's another issue.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, oh, oh, oh. Everywhere we go, 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 everywhere we go.
Culture is defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as the customary beliefs, social forms, and material traits of a racial, religious, or social group. It is also defined as the set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterize an institution or organization. issue I have identified in the diaspora, and sadly even in Africa, is that many people want to be Western. Many people don't want to be associated with Africa, particularly because of the images that are projected through the media. I came to this country as a young person, and even though in my formative years I lived in Nigeria and I was able to appreciate the culture and form my sense of identity, it was quite the culture shock for me to come here when I realized that one of the only perceptions or the stories that were being told about Africa was the one that many people are probably familiar with, which is a child poverty-stricken with flies flying around her or his head. True? True. And I remember being horrified because that wasn't the image I had of myself, but that was the image that was being projected through the media to those in the diaspora and many other people that are not from our cultures. Get the next generation to value our culture? How do we teach our children our language, especially here in America? If there's one thing that you can take from this talk, is that our children's sense of identity, their self-esteem, their confidence depends on what we do or what we do not do. And establishing a cultural identity for our young children very early is key in shaping how they view themselves and how they view the world around them.
In our generation, if you spoke in vernacular, that is, if you spoke huge in school, inside Nigeria, you will be punished by cutting grass on Saturday or you get blisters on your hand. By her time, the punishment has been reduced to just embarrassment.
It's a very vital program, and the author has done a very good job of providing resources for teaching our children our native language, that is Yoruba. It's a very good thing, and it will stimulate people, to assist people to pass down the language to the younger ones who are actually, many of them are hungry and thirsty for this. So this will fill this vacuum. It is highly commendable. I want to appreciate her. I want to appreciate Nigeria Center for finding her and bringing her out.
It's so important to bring our culture forward and to share it. And I think that this book will do the job and help us get the Nigerian culture, the Yoruba language, and continue to spread it for years and many, many years to come.
I think it's a great book. Growing up, my parents were Nigerian. My mom's from Edo State, my dad's from Ondo State. We speak the same language, but they can't understand each other, and I never got to learn it because there was just so much conflict on whose mom should teach you that, or your dad should teach you that, and no one said anything. But I feel like if I had this book growing up, I think it would be really great. I think kids that are growing up now, studying Yoruba, they would really enjoy using this book. You can actually hear it because it's tonal, so it's tough to understand and know, but I think it's great.
The Nigerian Center is very, very excited and proud to be a part of this conversation. We have a cultural series called NC Talks. It's our own TED Talk version where we bring thought leaders like Dr. Taye to speak to us about cultural, current affair issues that affect the Nigerian-American community. So while we are called the Nigerian Center, we do not only serve Nigerians, we serve everyone. But our cultural programs lead towards Nigeria.
Enjoy, relax, explore, discover. Fascinating Nigeria.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, go, oh, oh. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, go, oh, oh. Everywhere we grenade. Anytime and a place, and I'll meet you there.